Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. It is Sunday evening. It's time for another episode of the Truther Therapy Sessions. And yes, this episode is it's between 132 and 134. I better not say the number or people will be clipping me and saying confirmed, as they always tend to like to do. But yeah, it's a special episode by surprise, really, because I'm winging this, as you all know. There's very rarely a script or a plan to what I'm doing. And while I sat there wondering, like, what am I even going to do on this show tonight exactly? I ticked over 120,000 subscribers, and I wouldn't normally celebrate something like this. You know, it's not like it's 200,000. It's not like it's the 100,000. But the other reason I thought it'd be worthy of celebrating is because, for some reason, I have been stuck at like 19,900, dipping back and forth between 800 and 900 for like 3 weeks straight. And for some reason, this last few days, I finally tipped over that 20,000 mark. So it's felt like quite tentative, like I've been watching, like, what is going on? Maybe there's been a purge on YouTube. Maybe a lot of bot accounts have been deleted or something, or maybe like old account. I don't know what's been going on. Maybe just loads of normal people have had their accounts removed, and it's caused subscribers to drop. My wife was showing me some statistics of one of her friends' YouTube channels. And she has like 400,000 subscribers or something, and she has lost like a lot of subscribers over the last like week alone, or 2 weeks alone. We're talking like thousands, and it's unusual because she's posting regularly. So I think something's happened. I don't know exactly. It's just a theory. I mean, I'm a small channel relatively to most other YouTubers out there, so I didn't feel much of it. But I had 2 days where for some reason I lost. And look, I'm always gaining subscribers and I'm always losing subscribers. It's always been the case. I think I checked the other day, and if I had kept all the subscribers that have ever subscribed to me and no one had ever unsubscribed, I'd be on like 180,000 or something like this. So I've lost a lot as much as I've gained a lot. And that's just YouTube. That's normal. It's not like out of the ordinary. But what is out of the ordinary is I tend to always at least gain 1 or 2 subscribers. It never goes below 0 a day. But it did twice in a row, -2 last week, 2 days in a row. And I was watching it thinking, this doesn't make any sense because I'm gaining subscribers as well at the same time. And I've been on more podcasts and more people telling me, oh, new subscriber here and everything. But something's been throttling it, shall we say. And I don't know if anyone else has a YouTube channel listening. They've noticed the same on theirs, if they want to talk about it. So I thought, you know what, I've finally made it past the 120,000 mark. I'm going to celebrate because it's been a long time coming for some odd, bizarre reason. And to celebrate, I'd like to do what I usually tend to do every now and then, is do a signed book competition. It's a bit of fun. If you've never heard of this before, this is something I've done a few times already, and it's always good fun. We get to spin a big wheel at the end with everyone's name on it, and we all just sit there waiting to see who's going to win a signed copy of The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns. And the rules are very simple. If you do a super chat of $5 or more, only one, doesn't matter how much you donate, one donation is one entry, and that's it. You can donate again and again and again, and you don't get any more entries. Your name just goes onto the wheel. Okay, that's it. $5 is the minimum threshold. You go onto the wheel. That's it. And we spin it at the end, and if you win, I will send you a signed copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns for $5. Can't go wrong, can you? That's the deal. That's the competition. That's the fun. So get your names on the wheel. So get those donations in, get whatever it is, and I will allow you to get a name on the wheel for somebody else. So if you have already donated, say I want to make another donation. This one is for X, Y, and Z, and I'll put X, Y, and Z on the list. So that's also an option if you want to do that. So that's just a bit of fun that's going to be running throughout the entire show today. But I do also have some other things I would kind of like to talk about, to be honest. A few things that have been on my mind. Obviously, you know, I'm writing the 2nd volume, and I've been swimming in all the cultures all over the earth and trying to summarize them succinctly with a bit of humor and comedy here and there while exploring these lands and all the hidden things that are within them that you might not be privy to, that kind of show that there's this common theme of big, smiley-faced, wide-eyed, elongated head, pale-skinned, red-haired monsters everywhere, which are the Nephilim, which look like clowns. And I honestly, I start with each section and I go through the continents, and I'm currently into the Northern Asian continents. I've done Southeast Asia and South Asia. I'm now in like China, China, Mongolia, and we'll go through all of Russia as well, and Japan and the rest of it. And I'm kind of going through Tibet, I'm going through that region. And I've been focusing on on China for now. I'm about to go into Japan. And Chinese history and Chinese mythology is extremely complicated. It's like an incredibly daunting task to try and summarize in 4 pages all of Chinese mythology. Like, it's really impossible, and you have to cut some corners here and there and do some vast generalizations while leaving the source so you can go deeper if you want to, type of stuff. And I've been doing that, and as a result, I've kind of been just scouring the land for anything unusual. And I came across someone did send me the link for this a long time ago, but I remembered they sent me the link, and I dug it up from an email, and I checked it out, and there's this archaeological site which is crazy, absolutely crazy, which I want to share with you guys in a bit. And it's just the stuff that's coming out of it is just more evidence for what we already know, just more, but it's too much evidence. It's just a ridiculous amount of evidence that there was an ancient civilization thousands of years ago that particularly was heavily focused on giant clown-like entities. Like, it's there, and it's weird, and we'll get out while I'm there. I'll explore some ideas about dragons as well, which is because China is the land of the dragon and some of the mythology behind that. And we'll get into the pantheons of gods, and I'll give you a brief overview as well of kind of demons in general, how they're viewed, where their inspiration came from in China, and how they portray them. And once again, you see a lot of features arising as per usual. So we'll get into that. Then at the end of the show as well, I kind of want to get into the data centers, the AI data centers that are being built en masse everywhere, like all over the place, and they are enormous, and they are draining vast amounts of local resources, energy and water included. And I think we should talk about it. I think we need to get to the bottom of this. I want to hear your ideas, your theories, your understandings of what you think these things are and what the purposes really are behind it. And I'll give a few of my own speculations and thoughts along the way. So that's what's to come in the show today. But as I said, as people are rolling in, there is a competition to get a signed copy of the Nephilim Looks Like Clowns right here. Here's the one. I'll send it to you in the post after the show. And $5 super chat entry. That's it. You're in. If you want to do it for somebody else, do another $5 super chat and say it's for this person, and they're in as well. That's all it takes, guys. So let's get some of these in. Let's get it going. Let's have some fun. Let me just check the chat, see who we've got. We've got Wendy here. Congrats on 120k. Thanks, Wendy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I took your advice about the thumbnail should read between 32 and 34. Absolutely. We got Marta Carolina. Congratulations, Paul. Thank you. We've got Infinity Cell, all glory to the Most High. Absolutely. Thank you to our Father in Heaven for everything that I have. Absolutely. I do not take any of it for granted at any moment. This is the only reason this is continuing and probably going for as long as it has done is because of his grace. Like, he's someone's looking out for me, and I'm glad for it. And yeah. I thank God every single day for everything that I have, especially with this channel. Connor's in the house, 120k. Let's go. That's right. What else have we got? We've got Apple Eater. Blessings to you. Yep. Thanks for being here. We've got Schiller's Spirit. Good to see you. Always good to see a regular face. I'm so tired today and demotivated. I think I'm chronically exhausted. Well, Schiller's Spirit, I have noticed you just got yourself into the draw. This should make the day a bit more exciting, shouldn't it? A bit of gambling in the afternoon should sort you out in the late evening. Yeah, but it's a bit of fun, and who knows, maybe you'll win this copy, eh? And it's something to look forward to at the end of the show as well. What's your opinion on the Chinese wall? Some say the dragon is kept there. What's your take on that? Well, the mainline story, I think it was built by the Chinese to keep the Mongols out, but if you actually look at the way these things are structured, it's perhaps to keep something in. I've heard this idea, but this thing is vast, it's enormous, it's huge, it's complete overkill for people. So I've heard people argue that this could have been about Nephilim, giants in some way, some kind of warring tribe against giants. And obviously extraordinary enemies required extraordinary precautions, which is these ridiculously tall walls with extreme defenses all the way throughout. I don't know, though. In terms of it, China being the land of the dragon, it's actually, when looking into the history of why, it's extremely vague. It's extremely vague why they have such a heavy view on dragons in China. What where the origins of this really actually come from? It's they don't really know, and it's really surprising, isn't it? Because it's such a linchpin of Chinese culture. All the emperors wear the dragon. And often claimed to be the offspring or descendants of dragons as well, or the mother was encountered a dragon in a dream or something, and was impregnated. And there's lots of stories of dragons kind of interacting with human beings all throughout Chinese history. But the scholars look at it and think, like, we don't really understand why a dragon even exists in the iconography in the way they portray it, because it's an amalgam of a lot of different types of animals all kind of slapped together. Like the head of a camel, the scales of a carp, the paws of a lion with the talons of an eagle. They have the horns and antlers of a deer, but they also have this serpent-like, snake-like long body. People have equated it to be in like lightning, a representation of lightning, but they're often chasing after a sphere of some kind of wisdom. But when you look at it, people think like, oh well, it's just a symbol of power that developed over time or something like this. And I always take the simplest answer myself. It's likely they just saw something like that and they couldn't let it go. So they just got obsessed with the iconography and put it on everything. It's likely more a representation of the Seraphim class angels. And I only say that because if you look at the narratives of the dragons and their interactions with people, they are positioning themselves quite often as benevolent bringers of rain and water. So they are water gods. They are gods that are generally small gods that are in control of weather. That's usually the case with most Chinese dragons, and specifically water. They're very much water gods and entities. There's a classic story that gets told to children in China about the four dragons and the Jade Emperor. And the four dragons watched the people die of dehydration and famine, and they needed water, and they were praying and calling out to the Jade Emperor, but the Jade Emperor wasn't responding. So the dragons go make an appeal to the Jade Emperor in the sky, in heaven. And the Jade Emperor's like, oh, yes, I'll sort that out. Don't worry about it. Days pass, more people die. The rain still hasn't come. And they go up to the Jade Emperor to make another petition. And he's there being entertained at the courts and being distracted by frivolous things. And the dragons realize he doesn't care. So let's do it ourselves. So they all agree upon mutual implications to go and do this thing. And they basically bring the rain to the people because they control the rain. They come out of the oceans and they control the weather. The Jade Emperor explicitly tells them in this story, go back to where you came from and where you belong. You shouldn't be leaving the oceans where I set you to be. You have a job to do. Go back and do it, But they went against the Jade Emperor's ruling. They left their estates and they interacted with the humans in ways they were not ordained to do, and they brought the rain. And all the praise went up to the Jade Emperor, thanking him for the rain. He heard this and was angry with the four dragons, so he trapped all of them underneath a mountain. That's what he did. And from the mountains springs forth the four rivers of China, because of the dragons that are underneath. And that's the punishment for choosing to disobey the petty, vindictive, bureaucratic Jade Emperor and help human beings not die of thirst, So it's very much an inversion of the angels rebelling against God's orders and leaving the first estate. But in this story, the dragons are the heroes and the god is a petty, cruel, vindictive, selfish, narcissistic psychopath who doesn't care about people. Pretty perfect. That's exactly how the devil would do it, right? And explain how it all really went down. That's how the adversary would definitely paint himself as the hero and God as the bad guy. But even then, when you get to like the pantheon of gods in China, the Jade Emperor is not the big god. He answers, well, he and two other people, and a few other like gods of like this bureaucratic system that kind of oversees creation of the three realms. So this is their cosmology is very odd. So when I say the three realms, even the consensus of what that even means in China is up for debate, and there's thousands of interpretations. The mainline one is that there's basically hell, earth, and heaven. But a lot of people say that's not the case. Where we are is the lowest realm of flesh and desire, and then there's the middle realm, which is the middle heavens, where entities that are slightly transcendent of their bodies but can still be embodied reside. And then there's the realm above that where the gods are, and then it gets really weird. They have so many interpretations of what the three realms actually means, but rest assured, we are within the three realms and we're quite low down. And there is something outside of the three realms, this nebulous concept, okay? And that's where, let's say, the Buddhists are aiming to achieve through nirvana. This is what the Buddha got to. He broke out of the physical reality, which the three realms are all a part of. The three realms represents the realm of physical forms, desire, attachment, and all the rest of it. So they have this philosophy that, even the Jade Emperor, he's just here trapped in the three realms desire world with the rest of us. He just has more authority over the realms than humans do. So he's not like the big god, and he answers to the three primordial beings just outside of the three realms. And even they, in a sense, are kind of beholden to Buddha, which is beyond even all of that. It gets really hierarchical and odd and strange. And there's, again, much debate about that specific layout of reality. And the dragons are just on Earth with humans, but I suppose they're in that second layer if humans are in the bottom layer. The dragons are in that in-between of physical and not physical, but they're not quite gods, but they're not quite human either, and they're kind of in that weird realm. And I think, analogous to the Bible, it's like that these are messengers of God. They can travel between heaven and the earth, as they do in these stories, and they have powers and authorities over elements of the earth and regions and lakes and forests and seas and oceans and waters and clouds and rains and all sorts of things like this. The elemental gods, because God created them to do that purpose in his creation, as all angels have been created. They are the stewards, of creation. They're the ones that are supposed to make it work. They are the mechanisms within the machine. That's what angels are. And then even like the Chinese cosmology and pantheons echo this a lot. It's very similar. But the dragons are often painted like as benevolent good guys. But if you go to the Book of Enoch and the Great Serpent, which is the Great Dragon, which is Satan, and then you get into the Watchers and what they did with human women, mating with human women, creating hybrid offsprings, which corrupted the entire creation. I think it was specifically primarily seraphim class angels that did this, because they created the serpent seed, which was the Nephilim, I believe. And they're the ones who tried to create something in their image to usurp all the kingships of an antediluvian age. And if you look at all of human history, China included, the dragons are always involved. It's always dragons. It's always snake serpents from the sky of some kind. So that's why I think specifically it was the seraphim. And again, Chinese culture lines up perfectly with this. And I've been kind of swimming in it. I've summarized some basic stuff for you there. Very loosely, it's a vast pantheon of gods. So many. And relatively speaking, they're all good. They're all virtues, like paragons of virtue, and good things, and patience, and prosperity, and peace, and harmony. And their job is to maintain these orders. And when the chaos comes, their job is to make petitions to the Jade Emperor to fix the chaos. But then there's a lot of drama between the gods as well, and it's very much parallel to like the Greek gods of Mount Olympus, all under Zeus as the big god, and they all have to kind of interact into the affairs of humanity from the pedestal up on high. That's kind of how it's seen as well within the Chinese pantheons. And I think that's what these gods did. I think they positioned themselves above human beings in like a hierarchical structure, and the veneration and worship went to the pantheons rather than the one true creator god. And then they invented stories about where they came from and who they are and what's above them, which is why we have so many religions which are basically telling you, well, you have the chance to be like a god yourself. And there's plenty of examples even in Chinese mythology where humans become gods. They transcend through their karmic debt or their their actions or works to be as a god and join the gods up there in the highest level of the three realms, you know. But even then, they haven't quite mastered like the ultimate state of being, which would be what Buddha has attained, and what the Taoists have attained of kind of, but they don't personify it much. It's more like this state of no suffering, like unembodied, no attachment, no suffering, kind of an amorphous, gelatinous, amorphic dust of some kind that's omnipresent everywhere all at once, but passive and not involved with anything at the same time. It's kind of this state of non-being yet being identical. And in this understanding, it's like, but someone like Buddha who's reached this state will never come down to the earth very often, because when they do, the earth is forever changed after their appearance, and it changes everything forever. Like, they're too powerful. Their presence alone alters reality in a great way where people are never the same afterwards. And they've tried to make arguments within philosophy like, well, you know, Jesus was another example of this. He was one of these entities from that place. And when he came, a whole religion was started around him, and they compare Buddha to him. You know, and the same thing when Buddha comes down, he defeats a grand enemy or evil of some kind. Like in Thailand, they had the Phaita Kon festival, which is the spirit festival, the festival of the ghosts. And they believe after an evil was defeated, Buddha arrived through the village, and all the dead rose from the grave to celebrate as a result. So these spirits just suddenly started appearing because his presence alone does that. It warps reality beyond comprehension, and religions get created as a result. And it's a fascinating cosmology. It's a fascinating mythology. And when you parse it apart and get into the nuances of it, I mean, although Chinese people primarily are an atheist state today, you know, and they do allow for this cultural heritage religion, and they don't take it too spiritually serious. Some do obviously, but the more they don't view the gods as like something necessarily to worship, but as something something to intercede on their behalf to bring benefits, luck, and change into their life. Did you get what I'm saying? So something like a bodhisattva, for example, which is somebody who is very close to Buddha, but can traverse between both realms. Okay, this is like the equivalent of like a saint in Christian understanding. So a saint is not Christ, but they've reached a Christ-like state. Do you get what I'm saying? Their bodies have been perfected and they've been resurrected and they've reached this state, but they can still wander the earth, interact with people, and work on behalf of the big God, you know, on earth as angels could as well. It's this type of idea. And they have parallels over there. They have their own parallels and versions of this. You could call it a counterfeit to the Christian understanding. It's Satan just doing his thing. Or maybe they're talking about the same people, but where over time they've been bastardized and blocked into like these religions which separate them from one another. I couldn't say. I'm not here today to suddenly answer all the nuances and differences of Chinese religion and mythology. Who the hell am I to do that? But I've had a lot of fun summarizing it for the second book, and kind of I've learned a lot, and I've explored a lot, and I would like to go and see these places for myself, and just see some of these performances that are involved, where they act out these epics on their plays, where they dress like clown monsters with psychedelic paints and colors and everything to represent the gods and the demons, and their understanding is wild and heavily influenced by Buddhism, Confucianism, which came a lot later as well, which kind of demystified a lot of it, but maintained this Taoist understanding of how to maintain order and social cohesion, with the Tao as well. And they, you know, these things do have like gods, like I said, but they also have this detachment from it all. That the gods aren't the be all and end all. They are also here in the three realms of desire with the rest of us, you know. And they have this phrase which roughly translates to transcend the three realms and the five senses. It's kind of like the ultimate goal is always to do this, but you only achieve that through balance. never through extremes of any kind, and by following the way, which is the Tao. And that's kind of ingratiated into their culture in a way we just don't kind of do it here in the West. And in a way, Christianity, I heard somebody mention in the video, is very antithetical to the Chinese Taoist way, in the sense that their culture is always about the middle. Don't go too extreme one way or the other. Always seek harmony and peace first. Never make waves and disturb the social harmony and balance, because it only brings pain and suffering, and to maintain a state of peace and happiness and peace of mind is the best in the long run type of attitude. Well, Christ came and said, I'd rather you were hot or cold. And he said Christ had a way of being peaceable, yes, but he could also flip tables when necessary. And it's the idea that righteous anger can be love. And love can be cruel in a, well, from the perspective of somebody who's having their sins laid bare. It's uncomfortable, not cruel, that's the word. Truth is uncomfortable. Love is uncomfortable. It is an extremity to the Chinese culture in a way. And so they have this, it's an odd view. And by the way, this was someone living in China who was converted to Christianity who was saying this in the video. This is just some white boy out here misrepresenting what Chinese people think. Chinese Christians are heavily persecuted. Chinese Christians and their churches are heavily censored by the CCP, the Chinese part, the Communist Party. I think it is. Is that what it is? The CCP, or the Chinese Party of the People, whatever. Like, I don't know, but they do censor the churches, and the church doctrine has to align with government policy. And their Bibles have been rewritten for that purpose. So there's to maintain that cohesion, and it's really rough for them. But they are passionate. They stand up for it, So yeah, like I said, a lot of evidence of like an odd demonology type of mythology over there, which is again heavily borrowed from Buddhism primarily, and Hinduism as well. It has kind of seeped its way up there. You have like analogous versions of Rakshasas and Yakshas, which are giant bloodthirsty man-eating monsters from India. They have their own version of that in China. For example, there's a demon hunter from China, quite a famous one. I'll share the screen with you here. Hang on. It's called Zhong Kui, I think it's pronounced, if I'm pronouncing this right. Let me have a look. Zhong Kui, yeah. Or in Japanese, it's called Shoki. And I think Chung Kui is another way to pronounce this as well. Zon Kui, Chung Kui, Shoki. Anyway, he's like a bug-eyed, wild-faced, crazy demon hunter dude. Okay, that came to a dream of an emperor once, basically, and this emperor painted him immediately because he just couldn't get this guy out of his mind. And in the dream, this guy rescued him from demons and says, "This is just what I do, bro. Basically, I'm just here to kill demons, and I love doing it. I just love subduing demons and teaching them a lesson." That's basically what the vision was in the dream. And this emperor woke up and was like, "Right, I've got to note this dude down." And now he's become like a social symbol for getting rid of demons, basically. So if I show you this on the screen, this is the basic Wikipedia you can find for it, and it's here. And if you get, I think the picture's already loaded. If you zoom in, here's the wide-eyed, bug-eyed, crazy dude screaming up to the heavens with his sword there for whatever reason. But in the background, here's some of his slaved demons that he's managed to capture, and they're carrying stuff for him. Okay, but look at this guy in the background. Look at this clown-looking guy in the background with a red nose, very pale bluish-white skin, a crazy red afro, a big, wide, bulging-eyed smile, exaggerated features. I just thought it was funny. Talk about the Nephilim looking like clowns, But it seems like they were well subjugated in the region, and the peoples had a good grasp of how to control them, how to fight them, and a lot of mythological figures appeared as like saviors to fight them, heroes of old, maybe gods posing as humans with avatars. Maybe it could be a lot like, let's say, the Ramayana epics of India, where you have Shiva, and is it Ganesh? No, who is it? It's who are the three gods of India? I need to know this now. I'm blanking here. Three main Indian gods. I should know this. Sorry. Yeah, collectively they are what they are. It's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, but they would often come down to earth in avatars or different versions of themselves in many different forms to interact with humankind and pose as heroes, and epics were written about them, and they were aspects of these three gods always coming down to earth to intermingle. And it's possible this character here, Chung Kui or Zhong Kui, however it's pronounced, he was an example of this. The demon queller with 5 bats, and he appears in the supplementary notes to the Dream Pool essays by a scholar called Shen Kuo. And this is quite a long time ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And they appear in many stories and books of Chinese history. And these characters just randomly pop up. But he slays ghosts. Okay. And in China, they view demons and these creatures as what we call ghosts in a Western understanding, but they don't see ghosts as necessarily undead people. They see ghosts as ancestor spirits, demons, both physical and non-physical entities. It's kind of just the word they use. And they have the Ghost Festival, and they have this other one called the Hungry Ghosts, which they do these festivals to in order to kind of satiate them and keep them satisfied. And he talks about these ghosts that wander the earth who have this insatiable hunger but cannot satisfy it. Their mouths have been made very small in the spirit realm, and they have these large guts and these bellies. And they have these festivals where they lay out food, offering food to them, basically, to kind of appease them. So they won't affect them in any way and keep them happy. But these ghosts and these festivals dedicated to them, where they feed them. Now, they wander the earth, these starving ghosts, and basically cause a lot of trouble. And many of the sacrificial rituals of China are done in a hierarchical sense, but they're always kind of appealing to someone just above them in the hierarchy. So, for example, if someone needs to make an appeal directly to Buddha for help, only the Jade Emperor could do that. No one outside of their rank could jump ahead of the Jade Emperor to make that request to Buddha. So the Jade Emperor would go to a shrine for Buddha and give the sacrifice and the offerings to get in touch with him. But because somebody just below him made that to him, and it's like a ranking order, So there'd be a village entity assigned to a region, and that's who those peoples have to go to first to make their plea or their claim or whatever it is they're after. And then they assume that god that they've made that appeal to will go through the bureaucracy to their higher ups and go through the proper channels one at a time to get it up to the big guy if they need it, And it's up to the gods whether or not that's going to be the case. It was such an odd philosophy. But you find these demons are tapered throughout. And if I just type in Chinese demon, you get plenty of random examples coming up. Specifically intermingled with giants as well. But they're very much similar to something like a Rakshasa from India. They're pretty much identical, just with their own flourish, shall we say. Their own type of stylistic flourish has been added. You see the one next to this old dude here. It's basically a Rakshasa of India, but just with the Chinese style. There's very little between them. Here's more of the Chinese Buddhist version. This is you see a lot of this in Tibet. There it is, eating little people. So these things were giants, big red lips, wild bulging eyes. A very, very common vision, but they primarily are the same as a Indian Rakshasa demon, something like this. So if I type in here, some red-headed ones in the background on this one, looking very clown-like, pale skin, red hair. Obviously, these are the ones that are following that master I mentioned earlier. And he kind of has brought them all under his dominion. Somehow he subdued them to make them his own. Very much like Solomon, like King Solomon with his ring going around, subduing all the demons and making them doing his building work for his temple. This guy was going out basically doing the same thing. This is what his job was, and the demons tremble at his presence. But wherever you see them referenced and made on artwork, they have the wide grin, buck's fangs, bulging eyes, exaggerated features, and wherever they're drawn, you do often see red hair. You do. And this is very clown-like in nature. Very clown-like in nature, very similar. Because again, they're modeled after the Rakshasas. And don't forget, like Asia itself, we have these separations of countries now. But realistically, in an ancient time, the borders and the dividing lines were probably not as clear as they are today. That's Rakshasa, Thailand. Something like this in Thailand, for example, in South Asia. It's the same creatures. They just have their own mythologies, slightly different mythologies, slightly different stylized visages, but we're talking about the same monsters, aren't we? The same creatures. If you go to the Balinese demons, again, it's the same thing. Very little between them, very little difference, really. It's just, again, cultural, stylistic differences to describe the same creatures that they all had to interact with in an ancient past. That they're all here. But there's a very specific... I do think, as I'm doing my research, I think there's two classes of these clown-like entities. Okay, and I don't think they were all necessarily ugly like this. I think there was beautiful Nephilim, or less ugly Nephilim, and then extremely ugly Nephilim. I think that's the case. Because if you look at, let's say, Ravana, who is he's the king of the Rakshasas from Sri Lanka, okay? And his depictions are very rarely, even on the old depictions, ugly. He's relatively handsome compared to the rest of the Rakshasas. He still has demonic features like the book's fangs, but he's not as demonic looking. He's very rarely as demonic looking. He has demonic elements, but he seems to look a bit more human, or a bit more like an angel, a bit more like a chiseled, handsome type, you know. But under his dominion, so Ravana and his demons, you can find examples where the artwork was made here, for example. Here's at the Britannica. So here he is again, looking relatively handsome compared to the demon right next to him. But he is a Rakshasa himself. He is a Nephilim. He is the son of one of the gods. Okay, and these demons who he rules over are also offspring of gods mating with human women, as the stories go when you get into it. Here's his sister, Shurpanaka. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. She's in the middle here with red hair. She's making an appeal to Ravana up there on his little boat temple thing, because she's just had her nose cut off, okay, by Rama, which is an avatar of Shiva or Vishnu. I can't remember which one. He's an avatar of one of the main gods, and she has red hair, pale skin, but they're surrounded by these ugly-looking beast Nephilim creatures everywhere. But Ravana, who is the same as his sister here, who's very Rakshasa-looking ugly, he's not. But they're from the same family. So perhaps it splits off two ways. Perhaps it does. And the reason I'm thinking this is this... There was this article that came out years ago. I don't know if you all remember this. But it's like humanity, future, ugly, and good-looking races or something like this. If I just type that in. Yeah, it said here, some experts predict technological social divides may split humans into two subspecies: a physically attractive, hyper-intelligent elite and an ugly, stunted underclass. Do you remember seeing images of this? I bet they're not there anymore. I bet they don't let it anymore. But I remember this being the case where they would show pictures of like this really handsome, tall-looking humans and these really like disgruntled looking deformed people next to them or something. Again, it doesn't seem like you can see any of those images anymore. No, they've got rid of them. They were all over the newspapers in like the early 2000s. It reminds me of this, and I'm thinking perhaps when an angel mates with a human woman, it can go one or two ways. You can either get a handsome monster or just an ugly mess. And here we have another example where Ravana is actually depicted as quite ugly here, but he's not usually, is what I'm saying. He's not usually like this. He's usually depicted as more handsome than ugly for some reason. But these creatures you're seeing here, same thing in China. It's the same creatures. So you get the dragon masks of China. Dragon masks of China. You find these humanized faces that are very popular and worn, which, okay, that's a bit too Western dragon there. Maybe I need to get the China emphasized. Yeah, you get something like this, which is like a hybridized human dragon face of some kind. And then you get the full dragons, which look something like this at the festivals they do. I think it's the same thing. I think we're looking at the same creatures. Because even in India, South Asia, they had dragons, but they were more in the background entities more than anything. And then you had the Naga, which was a serpent race. They seem more akin to humans who have mutated themselves. But then you had the Rakshasas, which are like this odd hybrid, where they have a human body, but they're giants with these horrible, hideous faces. And I'm thinking they were all over North, South Asia, as far afield as even the Gorgons of Greece. I think it's the same creature. The exact same creature as far as into Europe. Just a different stylized way of representing them. So I've shown all this a lot in my work. My work is depicting this common thread between cultures, where these type of creatures with this wide grin and bulging eyes and serpentine features and hybrid mix were just everywhere on every single continent, all over the place. If you go to South America, you've got the Chavín culture. Chavín de Huántar is the temple, which goes way back. It's just covered in these snake heads with these hooked fangs and wide smiles. And slap bang in the center, you've got this lands-on thing, which has the exact same face on the side with the same tusk-fanged smile. It's right there. And these are continents apart. These have no business being next to each other or looking the same as each other. But it's because every culture experienced these creatures. Every single one of them experienced these creatures. So moving on, you get these archaeological dig sites like the Chavín de Huántar here in Peru. But if you go into China, there's one here, and it's I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this. Okay, let's just go to all. See if I can find the Wikipedia page. Maybe it'll tell me how to pronounce this. It does not. It's called the 3-Star Mound. Anyway, here it is on the map. As you can see, it's in the northern borders of China. And it was originally discovered in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but it was never actually excavated till the 1980s because of basically war kicked off, and it caused a lot of problems. So none of this stuff ever got uncovered and was kind of suppressed for a long time. They date this back to 1150 before Christ, so about 3,000 years old. But I'm thinking it's older, just a hunch from my own research, because the things that are coming out of this are insane. Like the styles that come out of this. And if you look at the map here, this is the wall that was around the area where the archaeological site is. This wall is enormous. Okay, it's megalithic in nature. It's unprecedentedly large. I think it's about 40 meters wide at the base and 20 meters wide at the top. And I think it's 10 meters tall. So the amount of brickwork required to build this thing, for as many miles as it is as well, for how wide this thing actually is just ridiculous. It's like this cannot have really been built by primitive people, in the Copper Age. I just really don't see it being the case, and as is the case with most megalithic structures, right? We've heard this many times when it comes to megaliths. It's always the same thing. It's just the story's too unbelievable. It's too fantastical. It's just ridiculous. Like, people did not lift those giant stones that weigh more than 20 buses. They didn't have some special pulley system involving. Like, did not have the materials to support such weight or the strength to move such things. This is another one of those type of cases. But it's pretty much in complete ruins, and it's being excavated. And along with it, about 50,000 artifacts have been excavated from this thing, and they all look psychedelically insane, and they're depicting some kind of creature which inhabited this region that is not human. Humans do not have eyes this large, or brow ridges this defined, and mouths this wide. Okay, you can say it's just their interesting style. I really don't think this is a stylistic choice. I think they're trying to depict something very real that existed in the area. These odd-looking creatures right here. Okay, whatever these were, I'm going to say they are clearly remnants of a race of Nephilim that weren't quite as hideous as the Rakshasas, but have all the features nonetheless. So I've lost it there, haven't I? So what's he called again? Chinese Archaeological. Yeah, by the way, there's a lot of sites in China to do with this. Like, there's actually a lot of archaeological sites. But this one really stands out to me because they've got these gold masks ordained on them as well. There's multiple of these massive heads that have been found. And look at the size of the mouth. It's enormous. Very wide. And obviously so's the nose as well, and the eyes. The forehead is going straight up. It's elongated. The ears are huge as well. Then you get this thing with this big wide grin more, and a specific emphasis on the eyes bulging out and protruding. They had these gold masks kind of laid over them, which they've peeled off. They're very tall, thin, slender, wide mouths, large eyes. I think we're looking at another race of Nephilim that somehow had developed some kind of civilization in this one specific region, creating these enormously tall light fixtures like of some kind, and these sculptures made of metal which just bear no reason to be in existence, really. There's no like justification for the efforts got involved in the creation of these things when you really get down to it. But they show themselves. Honestly, there's thousands of depictions of this. Look at this thing. I'm looking at a Gorgon of Greece again, just with a new style. We're looking at the same things, aren't we? This one has particularly jester-like with the horns and the cap as well. Obviously, veneration of the Thunderbirds of like North America. They seem to have another obsession with the flying eagles. I'm wondering if it was really birds they were talking about, or if these are representations of the gods, their parents, the angels above them, the dragons and the Thunderbirds. It's hard to tell, really. It's hard to know, but this one does look human. For very large hands, but still a lot more human than what we just witnessed. This one does not look human. So these things must have been living side by side. Like they were, and look, these are not small. This is metalwork, guys. They made this out of metal. Such symmetry and precision. 3,000 years ago, so-called, when you really get down to it. Like this was done by a race who was clearly advanced, clearly not quite human. For purposes of veneration in ways that we just don't fully understand, I guess. If I just Google this. And let's get some more images up so you can see. Because that's just what Wikipedia is showing us. But there's plenty of these. They go on for a long time. Big, like, the 50,000 artifacts here, you know? Like, this is not a small feat. And it's all just coming out. Look how many of these things there are. Like, this is giving Easter Island head vibes, right? And it's possible they are the same creatures. This one's giving very ethereal, jestery, weird-looking, angelic hybrid vibes. You know, these creatures are odd, very odd, but they fit the pattern. They do look pretty much the same as many of those other creatures I showed you on other continents. They are quintessentially a more streamlined Nephilim. The fangs just aren't as pronounced here. It's just like, for example, if you go to the Wandjinas of the Kimberley region, and you look at the rock art. Oh, sorry. Yeah, if you look at the rock art of the Wandjinas, okay, these are very different. They don't have mouths, which is a very different feature to most of the other Nephilim I've showed you. But the story's the same. They are the offspring of the rainbow serpents. Okay, so it's the dragons everywhere else, but here it's rainbow serpents. It's the same thing, giant snakes in the sky. And these things taught mankind all sorts of stuff. And just like the dragons of China, they control the rain. Okay, they bring rain. They are rain bringers. They bring storms. So when you see them depicted like this, these little drops you see just below the clown-like frills are meant to represent rain droplets, because that's what they do. They control the weather. But these things are carved onto rock, and they have the big bulbous nose, big bulbous eyes, red afro hair, pale white skin, but they don't have a mouth. So there is always variations. There's differences based on geography. These things have a vast array of looks about them, but quintessentially, when you break it down, the similarities far outweigh the differences. Okay, if it's not the story behind them or the aesthetics that they share. And of course, these ones look extremely clown-like. Like, this is like very on the nose, clown-like imagery with the black pom-pom on the chest while they're at it. You know what I mean? It's too. This one's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But if you get into it, Wandjina rainbow serpents, they're always depicted often with the serpent wrapping around them. There they are coming forth from the serpents. Very, very odd. But the rainbow serpents are vast, primordial entities that come from the heavens and carve out the mountains with their very bodies. Like this, like you can see this epic representation here. And they're synonymously linked with these wandering humanoid-like entities of lightning and rain that taught humanity how to do lots of things. Same story, same archetypical representation, same. It's always the same story, and they are very, very clown-like in nature as well. And again, the oceanic islands are quite far away from China. We're talking vast distances here, really, when you get down to it. But they have no business sharing the same stories, really, but they do. Very similar, because I think they all had the same experiences when the rebellion of the angels kicked off. I think these things came down from heaven, these serpent gods, and they in some way mixed themselves with humans and created off many religions, many offspring of varying forms and shapes, and many mythologies and stories were created about the exploits of their offspring, and religions were formed as a result as well. And the differences that we hear about are vast, but when you actually get down to the aesthetical similarities, they share more similarities than they do differences. And you realize we're all talking about the same creatures, the same family of creatures, just with different local mythology surrounding them based on people's experiences in those regions with these entities. And we've kind of just forgotten this as time has gone on. That's my theory. That's what I'm positing. That's what I'm explaining. And I just thought you should go look at these archaeological sites, especially in China. And it's mind-blowing what they're just uncovering in the last 40 years. 1980s when they actually dug all this up. And they've had to rewrite Chinese history because of this as well. It's made them question what the earliest civilizations of China even are. And it's really made them think, like, we don't understand this. Where does this fit in? Because the style is completely different as well to like what we thought was ancient China. You know, it's getting strange. It's getting strange. Anyway, guys, competition time. I'm going to come back. I'll take a break from that. I'm going to take a quick break, have some water, and we'll come back and we'll get into the AI data centers. But we are running a competition, if you've just joined, for a signed copy of the first volume of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. This one right here. Entry is $5 minimum. That's all you need. And at the end of the show, your name goes onto a big spinning wheel. And if you get selected, you get the book. I send it to you in the post. And that's it. $5. Minimum entry. You can't have multiple entries. It's just one entry per person. You can donate as much as you want, as long as the minimum is $5. But that will only get you one entry, whatever you do donate. If you want to donate for somebody else and get them into the competition, you can do that. But you have to make it explicitly clear who you want in the draw with your separate donation. So there you go, guys. That's the rules. Get in. It's a bit of fun. Just something for the end of the show, just to keep it a bit more exciting. I see people already have here. We've got a first-time tipper, long-time lurker. You all have really filled in some blanks that I have had for a very long time. Corny, I know. Oh, well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I can't see your full name for some reason. Let me just quickly see if I can expand it. I can't expand that. Okay. Can I delete scene transitions. Let's just get rid of... Maybe I can expand this now and see more of your names. There we go. Apple Eater. Yeah, so thanks for that. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you enjoy the work. Who else have we got? We got Marta Coralline is in the draw. Thank you for helping me open my eyes, Paul. I'm only starting on this path and discovering faith and Jesus. Blessings to all. Well, no, thanks for being here. I'm glad you enjoy it, and thanks for the donation. You're in the draw as well, Marta. Thank you very much. Schiller's in the draw, and I've just given you my opinion on the Chinese wall. There we go. Missing a lot of the chat, guys. I apologize. I'll try and scroll back during the break to see if I've missed anything. But if you want to get into the competition, we've got a few members in right now. Their chances are looking good, aren't they? Just get in your $5 minimum and you're in the draw at the end. And while you're doing that, I am just going to take a quick break. I'll play you a song from my album, and then I'll be back to carry on the show. So please just bear with me. My life forever, chasing after dreams I can't define. I held my tongue, I held my anger, thinking I would have my time. I turned to plants, I flew through lands that don't have solid ground. I crashed, I burned, I lost all feeling. Then you came and made a sound. I knew you before we met that day. Dominoes falling from the railway. I knew you before I held your hand. I knew this was the plan. Before you came, my mind was lying. I pretended not to know. You gave me grace. Let's leave this place. We have better seeds to sow. Your sense of justice knows no bounds. It offends your spicy brain. I can't give back the debt you paid, but I can serve you all the same. I knew you before we met that day. Dominoes falling from the railway. I knew you before I held your hand. I knew this was the plan. Let's make it on our own. Let's see our children grow. Let's make it free for you and me. Let's teach them all we know. I lived my life forever, chasing after peace I can't define. I made it through, now I'm with you, and I am feeling fine. 'Cause I knew you before we met that day. Dominoes falling from the railway. I knew you before I held your hand. I knew this was the plan. I knew this was the plan. Okay, and we are back. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was called The Plan. It's a song I wrote for my my beautiful wife for her birthday. I hope you enjoyed that one. So I'm back. Been looking through the chat there. I've just had to get rid of a few people who were just, I don't know, derailing everything. That always happens, doesn't it? I haven't got time for nonsense with a G at the beginning, so I'm just going to get rid of that as soon as I see it. No, I've very little patience. But thanks for Beck from Oz. You're in the draw as well. Good to see you. And the Real McCoy, you're also in the draw as well. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And happy 2026 lol. You're also in the draw for a signed copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. So thank you very much for doing that. Anyone else wants to get themselves in, get yourself in for $5. You're in for a chance for a signed copy of the book. So there we go. That's what's going. And we have Annabelle Albion. Thoughts on King Solomon and the temple? Did he use demons to build it due to size and precision? And was God okay with that? Re, the Key of Solomon. Well, I'm not so sure God was okay with it necessarily. It's said that the ring was given to him by angels. This magical ring he can wear that helps him summon a demon, ask it what its job is, and then subdue it and use it for his own advantage. As the story goes in the Key of Solomon, he did build the temple using the help of demons. But I think a lot of stuff went wrong as well. It wasn't all smooth sailing as it is when you try and make deals with demons and work with demons. But a lot of that is mainly like a Jewish mythology that was the case for King Solomon. We don't precisely know, but we do know that King Solomon did quite haughtily, through pride for many of his early years, do a lot of dodgy, shady stuff. It's just what he did before he realized it was all vanity and vexation of spirit and a waste of time in his older years, and as we read in Ecclesiastes. So I say what you want about Solomon himself. We do know Freemasons are obsessed with him, and the idea of building this temple as well, in Solomon's temple. And they kind of idolize Solomon as like the first master mason, and the fact that he worked with demons to build his great work is quite synonymous with how ancient Babylon mystery schools operate. They also communicate and work with demons in order to do their work on Earth and build their new world order. So I think they're just following in his footsteps, and they definitely took inspiration from Solomon. If you look at any Freemason lodge, the Grand Worshipful Master is a Solomon analog. He's supposed to be the king. He is Solomon. The crown he wears is the top hat in Freemasonic iconography. And only the Grand Worshipful Master is allowed to wear the top hat because he's supposed to be King Solomon. He's the leader and orchestrator of the rituals. And he has dominion over the demons. And if you look at all circuses, the earliest ones in America, well, they were all run by Freemasons and Shriners, and King Solomon, the ringleader, the Lord of the Ring, the Ring Master, he's the one who orchestrates the ritual, the performance, and has his demons all around him, which are the clowns. So I think they use that symbolism synonymously when doing these things. So yeah, I think that's what I know about Solomon and that story, and it tracks for my own research, and whether it's true or not, it has been applied to a circus iconography. That story of King Solomon and the demons. Yeah. Demons, likely tech we don't understand. Same process as Locusta Vampa. Yeah, you've been saying a lot of stuff, haven't you? Look, I think you wanna try and say I'm lumping everything in as Nephilim that maybe aren't Nephilim. I'm not. I've not come to these conclusions from nothing. I've done the research on this. And I think, though there are many language and descriptors and names for these things from many perspectives, if you just look at the aesthetical similarities, you're talking about the same things, just with different words and different understandings or feelings about them from different cultures. But fundamentally, the story from the Book of Enoch rings true. These things are here because of what the angels did by mixing themselves with humanity. That's why they are there. I don't care what the story comes afterwards is about the great exploits. They are there because of what happened in Enoch. That's what I'm getting down to here. And all human culture and history has rippled out since that event to where we are today, where everyone's completely forgotten that this is the case and thinks everyone's religion is unique. They're not. We're all talking about the same stuff. But they're all, because they've been so isolated from one another for so long in their own pockets, They have created their own iconography and mythology surrounding them, which can contradict one another. Because I think they were lied to heavily by these things about who they were and what they were and where they came from too. A lot of deception. You know, I always think back to that film, The Invention of Lying, or something like that. Is that what it's called? The Invention of Lying? I think Ricky Gervais was the guy who basically just started lying for the first time in a world where nobody lies, and he very quickly became God, basically. Everyone thought he was Jesus. Artists draw inspiration from each other. No, it's not that simple. These are cultures separated by thousands of miles with no business being connected to each other, even in the slightest. This is not just because of artists talking with each other and being inspired by each other. This is pre-internet, man. This is ancient. They all saw the same thing, and they all drew it in their own way. They all documented it in their own styles with the resources they had available. That's what I'm saying. It's not that they were sharing ideas necessarily. It's that they all actually saw the exact same thing. That's what it is. Religion is poison, all too human. I don't remember Paul advocating. Yeah, look, you're not here for a fruitful conversation. You're here just to scream at me, aren't you? So, you know, there we go. All done. None of that. Anyway, AI data centers. This is where I want to go next. We can shelve that to one side for now. And, you know, we're already over an hour in this show, and we don't have too long. And while I'm doing this, don't forget, guys, get yourself into the draw. $5 minimum, in for a chance to win a Nephilim Look Like Clowns. Get your name on the spinning wheel at the end. It's good fun, and we'll you could win yourself a book. So super chat, $5 minimum, and you're in. Anyway, I was watching Autodidactic. Just by chance, one of his videos came up in my feed, and he was talking to somebody else about the AI data centers, and I listened to a good half an hour of it or so, and they reminded me, this is probably something we do need to discuss on this channel, because it's clearly a growing problem now, which I've been distracted by other things, but it's something I think I would like to hear, whoever's listening right now, what your take on it all is, really. I want to hear your theories about what you think these things actually are. Because the way they were talking about them on Autodidactic's channel is these things are enormous, like vast, huge places to what, store data, you know, and they require inordinate amounts of water for cooling purposes, they would say, you know. But it's like billions of liters a year, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking like this will destroy neighboring villages and neighborhoods and countries even. There's going to be major shortages of energy and water and resources due to these things, which they say. And by the way, you look at the map of America, there's hundreds of them. They're scattered all over the American, and here in the UK as well. We have our own problem. I keep seeing clips of, I think it's somewhere in Wigan in the UK. They've built a data center, and it's caused flooding everywhere in the UK. Because they've messed up the land, because it's so vast, and if there's plonked this thing in the middle of the city where these people live, right next to bordering people's residential areas, this giant monolithic, terrifying looking, horrible thing, and it's just the light that comes off it is ridiculous, you know. Everything about it is just ridiculous. The council has sold out their people for this, for big money, you know, but it's causing the whole area to flood because the rain doesn't go to the right places anymore, and it just floods areas very quickly, and it's basically ruined the area. It's destroyed it. And England's not a big place, so America's vast, lots of land. They can hide these things in mountain ranges and in the middle of forests. No one's going to notice them. But what you will notice is the lakes and rivers of the surrounding area just being complete and totally eaten up and disappearing. Now, in the UK, we're a very wet place. It rains all the time. There's no shortage of water in the UK. Very, very, very rarely. You might get a hose pipe ban once in winter because the reservoir's running a little bit low, but you don't really lose water in the UK. So I think this is distinctly a major problem for Americans, especially in the arid regions, because your land is so vast and varied with the ecosystems that you have there, you know. And the reason this doesn't make sense, this is one of the points that I heard quite a lot, which I thought was a good point, is that do we even need data centers when you actually think about it? Because technology, the way it actually works is everything gets smaller, not bigger. Okay. And the way we store information, our hard drives have gotten smaller and more efficient and can hold more data. Okay. I don't feel like we need so many data centers at such a vast scale everywhere for the purpose of what they're actually telling us. It makes zero sense. Like, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure they even said in this video, technology has just been released that can hold an inordinate amount of data. Something stupid, like numbers you don't even comprehend, amounts of data on such a small thing. Like, they're getting there, and the processing power of chips and the rest of it is just getting exponential to the point where so's AI. AI is kind of surpassing itself and getting more efficient as it grows as well. And the necessity for all of these AI centers, and by the way, trillions of dollars of investment, trillions, these numbers, trillions, you don't know what that means. Like, you don't quite understand what a trillion is. Multiple of those. Okay, these are numbers you cannot fathom. You can't. It's so big. It's meaningless now. But the amount of money that's been invested and gone into building all of these everywhere is such a waste, considering its futility and its obsolescence to how technology will advance. By the time they're all finished, we won't need them for the purposes they originally said that we would need these things for, to help the processing power necessary to run AI. You know, we need to put the data and for it to all go, you know, and it's not this. These are something else. Whatever they're building in these giant boxes, it's not to store data. I feel like this is pretty obvious. Like, they're not, I don't know, and there's no staff in them. They're not to make jobs for the area. Maybe a few security jobs to look after the perimeter of the place, but nothing inside. No one's working in these things. And yeah, maybe some building jobs to build the infrastructure for them. So these literally bring nothing to the area that they're built in. They drain all the resources and generate nothing as a result. Okay? I'm feeling lucky today, Paul. God bless you and your family, says El Amigo Pietro. You're in the draw. Thanks for that. I don't know how much 5,000 CLP is, but I'm going to assume it's enough to get you in the draw. And Chris Cuba says, AI data centers are sus as hell. Considering our knowledge of the occult supernatural, it's probably a summoning tool of some sort. Maybe. I honestly don't know. I don't know which way to go with this. I've heard people say, well, actually, it is data processing centers, but it's not for the purpose of AI. It's for the 15-minute city surveillance systems that are coming after the fact, and also for the digital currency systems, the place to log and track all of that kind of stuff. And it'll all go through one kind of hive mind AI algorithmic system through these data centers, where every single human being will have a profile on them that is so vast in detail that it requires large data centers to store the vast amounts of information for the millions of people it's going to be monitoring. And it's not just like, no longer like your age, sex, hair color, eye color, height information. It's talking about the intricate, nuanced data on you and what makes you a person. Here's a good example. I saw this video on Instagram, and I'll play you the audio. I saved it somewhere. I liked it, so hopefully it should just be easy to like get back up and for you guys to listen to. Fingers crossed. But this guy summarizes algorithms and how they work, and the amount of information. He wasn't making this point, but I noticed the amount of information they need to store on an individual right now to make this work probably is getting out of hand, and it probably is a case that they're going to have to build some stuff in order to make this work. You know, I was just thinking about it when I saw it. Where is it? Where's my liked stuff? I don't know where to find it on Instagram. I'm useless with these things. If we go to notifications, is it there? No. I'll figure it out, guys. Give me a second. Let me just go over to my profile. It's not the archive. What am I missing? What am I missing here? How do I just see what I've liked? Like, how can I not see this? Why is the interface so crap and useless? Like, who made this? Who made it like this? I'm gonna have to write an angry letter to somebody. No, can't find it there. Can't find it there. Never mind. I'm gonna have to edit this out of the live show because I'm just making a fool of myself, aren't I? But yeah, basically, what he was explaining is AI itself and algorithms itself don't just deal with simply basic stuff like, oh, we clicked on this. It knows the duration of how long you watch something for. It knows whether you did watch it or didn't watch it, or if you skip past it. It knows the time it took for you to scroll away from something. It knows way more details about your habits and how you view things than you would ever dare to even think about. Like, it's tracking your face, it's watching your eye movements, it's probably even testing your blood pressure while you're at it, while you're touching the screen. It's taking a quick note of like what your heart rate is. It sees things you have searched or might search or could possibly search. It's testing whether or not you will search for things by putting things in front of you just to see if you will like it or not without you realizing it. It's creating a huge mind control profile on you that knows everything about your wants, desires, and needs, and things you don't even know you want or desire or need. It knows all of it because it's making such a vast, detailed profile on you. And now expand that out to everything else, not just social media. And this is where the AI centers and the surveillance system comes in. The surveillance systems, 15-minute cities, and obviously the tracking digital ID stuff. It's going to know where you go at what time every day, what your habits are. It's going to be able to predict where you're going to go on any given day, your days off. It's going to know everything about your family and friends and your habits and where you see them, where you like to drink, where you like to eat, what you like to eat, and when you eat it, and how long it takes for you to usually eat something. It's going to know every single thing about every detail of your movement and your behaviors to the point where it can predict exactly where you're going to be at what time and when, because we are predictable creatures. And that's what data these things are going to be storing. But you have to times that by multi-millions for the amount of people that actually exist that they have to do this for. Okay, so you need giant centers to store this data, right? It could be that. It could be that. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. I don't know. I'm just theorizing. I've heard people say, oh, well, if it's not that, maybe they're just empty. Maybe it's justification for the vast resource scarcity they're going to force onto us. Or maybe they're not going to tell you it's the data centers that are doing this to you, but maybe their job is just to suck up energy and resources from the areas, okay, to cause chaos and destruction. That's actually the purpose. But they'll never openly admit that it's because of these data centers that this is happening on the mainstream. It's because of global warming, it's because of climate change. We need change, we need to eat the bugs, and we need to get rid of property, and we need to control people more. We need digital ID. We need to make sure people's carbon footprints aren't exceeding a certain amount, because look, all our rivers are drying up and everything's going terribly wrong. And obviously the people will be screaming, it's because you built these giant things everywhere that are sucking up all the resources, and they'll never acknowledge it. And they'll arrest anybody who goes to these data centers to do anything at all to disrupt the plan. I think, was it Peter Thiel or something? I can't remember. One of these billionaires who has his data centers, so Jeff Bezos maybe, I'm not sure, was said, I'm worried someone's going to fly a drone and try and destroy my data centers. And then Trump's like, we're making new laws where it's going to be a terrorist act to damage these data centers. It's like, why? What are you really protecting here? What's the big deal, Something sus as hell, right? This doesn't make any sense. Like, I just don't know. I want to hear what you think. Get in the comments now. Tell me what you think this is going to be about, because it could go anywhere, right? It really could be going anywhere here. I have no idea. Okay, so probably a summoning tool. Maybe it is. Maybe these things are all built on ley lines. Maybe the plan is that this is going to be like, they're all mini hadron colliders everywhere or something, and that's why they need so much energy and resources, because they've mastered that technology and now they've implemented it everywhere, and there's just all these nodal portals being opened up everywhere to release hell on earth. I don't know exactly. We're going Doom here. It's Doom style. I think the AI plants are to destroy resources and land, pollute the water and land, and the steam won't replace itself anymore to force 15-minute cities. I get what you're saying. Yeah, something like that. It seems like that. That seems to be what I think as well. Something like this is going on. Troll corsets is going on a lot about trolls. Okay. Iran's rivers and lakes got dried up under IRGC. Maybe that was the practice ground. Interesting. Maybe. I think they have discovered a way to harvest our psychic energy and store it for some epic event breakthrough. Parasitic. That's an interesting take. Maybe these things are like tapping into the etheric, mystical energies of the spirit realm and our collective consciousness or something like that. If you believe that kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe it's like a loose energy harvesting plants. Like these are like Monsters Inc. plants all over the place that are storing our negative energy to release as like a weapon onto us in certain ways. I don't know. I'm not saying that isn't the case. Water can hold enormous data on its own, they say. That's true. That is very true, isn't it? Maybe that's the point. The water is the thing that'll be holding the data. What practical uses could they have for that? I'm trying to think. I'll come back to you on that one. Not for storage, for compute cycles, says David T. Webb. Still. Yes. I know what they want to do. They want to try and sell back knowledge through AI as like a subscription service, and you have to buy tokens in order to use AI to get information. I think this is a lot like basically Google isn't free anymore. I think that's what they're going for. They want to monopolize and monetize AI knowledge and the use of AI for advancing our purposes, and maybe that has something to do with this. I don't know. I really, really like this one, Paul. Says 10 good questions. Which one? What are we talking about? The song? I don't know. To store souls, they want to compute something that normal computers are not capable, which it might really summon something. Yeah, well, maybe. Are they all quantum computers? I don't know. Storing consciousness. Could this be about that? The immortality thing, perhaps. And every single like billionaire has their own consciousness storage unit now. And is it maybe like when they die, their consciousness gets sucked into the data center they built for themselves and put back into a new body so they can keep living forever? Is that what this is? That's a wild one. And you know what? I'm all for it. That's it now. That's it. That's what it is. I'm going forth with that one from now on. The AI data center being an excuse to make more powerful quantum computers is a reasonable assumption. It is. It's just as good as anyone else's guess, isn't it? It can predict your mind, read according to what I saw and read up on. It's nothing magical. It just it tracks your behaviors and watches your heat mapping and eye tracking crazy times. Yeah, exactly. You get what I'm saying. Like with enough data on somebody, you could practically predict exactly what they're thinking and what they're going to do next. And this just cranks that up to the max, doesn't it? Now it's almost like it'll feel almost like magic. In Ireland, data centers consume 22% of Ireland's total metered electricity, which is more power than all the country's urban homes combined. That is terrifying. And our bills keep going up, right? Our energy bills. When 22% of it is being directed to these things. This is mad. This is madness. They make us pay for it, you know. It could be like 1984 and it could be vaporization centers. Well, maybe this is just mass culling devices, perhaps. This is the beast that's coming out of the earth. Maybe. The data centers will be achieving a few things at once. Try combining the ideas. It's not an either-or scenario. Oh, no, I know that. It's probably everything. It's everything under this list all at once. That's usually how this goes. But there'll be some things it's not. Maybe that's all I'm trying to figure out. What isn't it, at least? The worst part about these AI data centers is that the plan they have that you think they might have is that it might be a plan behind a plan, a network of plans. Exactly. The DNA storage is an archival technology that encodes binary computer data, zeros and ones, into synthetic strands of genetic code. So is it DNA storage? Is that what this is? I really enjoyed the song you played. It's exactly what I needed to hear in the moment. It'll be a staple to listen to. Well, great. If you want to listen to my music, it's all on Spotify. Just search Paul Stobbs. You'll find all my music under my name on there. Water has memory. That's right. They encouraged minimalism and digitized books so they can make us pay over and over again. Glad I built a library. That's true. I've got my own collection of books up here on my shelf. Yeah, so better than a physical copy. Always get yourself physical copies. They're creating energy fields that they can inhabit. They, the demons, are preparing to reveal themselves. All they are doing is bringing down the second heaven down to earth. Maybe it could be a thinning of the veil situation. Perhaps all this is, like I said, a way to bring the Nephilim back from that place. That could be the case. I think that's been a long-term plan. Maybe these are the places that are going... Sorry about the yawn. Maybe these are the places that are going to produce the technological, biomechanical, AI hybrid bodies, transhumanist stuff, where these demons can then inhabit themselves into the physical world. Maybe this is the storage center for all of those, but the production and storage center for those immortal bodies for the Nephilim to come back through. As for the physical and the spiritual becoming one again, and we're all suddenly just seeing it all at once, I don't think that's possible. I think God put a veil there, and only He has control over that. I don't want to give these people too much power. They might be able to poke holes through it, but I don't think they can break the veil. I really don't. They're putting a chokehold on humanity while destroying God's creation, while holding open portals and keeping most in a technological prison. Vague, but yes, I get what you're saying. Blind theory. Printing books that are rare in the open might become necessary someday. Maybe. I always pray to my water before drinking it. I truly believe there's power in that. Yeah, well, there's a lot of work done on water. I think it was a Japanese or Chinese scientist who did a lot of work on water. And he basically learned that our words shape and have power over it. And it can store data. And it reacts to vibes and moods as well. So speak positively to things and positive things will happen, basically. Because everything is water, everything's got water, including people. We're primarily, a lot of what our makeup is water, right? And if you speak positively to yourself and to others and treat it well and be kind, you'll find it has a healing, harmonious principle to the water in your body, and it creates good things, really good things. But if you do horrible things to water and you curse it, and you're abusive towards water, when you freeze it, it doesn't create beautiful patterns and hexagonal snowflake-like patterns. It's just a blob. It's like a mess, a chaos. But if you do the whole love thing and then freeze the water, beautiful crystals, amazing shapes. So yeah, your words matter is what basically it's taught us, and water stores information. Isn't that incredible? Then when you actually think about that, so I'm rolling with this concept. The water cycle on Earth is heat evaporates water. Water turns to steam. It rises up into the sky. It cools and turns into clouds. The clouds get dense. And that water then comes down to the earth as rain, which feeds the trees and spreads out, and obviously the reservoirs and lakes and the rest of it. And that water's useful and it brings life. But then that water evaporates, turns back into clouds, which then get dense, which then comes down again. And it's an endless cycle, isn't it? The water never changes. It's the same water over and over and over and over and over and over and over again forever. Now, what effect would it have if the earth itself became extremely negative and all people on the earth did nothing but chaos and negativity at all times, and the people were cruel to each other at all times and were cruel to nature at all times, and it became a dystopic, horrible place that mowed over the land and built parking lots everywhere and tarmacked everything and just abused creation in itself and each other, and death and suffering was the norm, and anxiety and pain and just misery was the norm for society most of the time. What impact would that have on the water that we all drink, that's within us all, that leaves our bodies and goes back into the system, to the cycle, then comes back to us again? Would our water turn toxic given enough time living in that kind of environment? Would that cause a third of the animals in the ocean to die, if not all? Could that cause rivers to turn red, blood red? Could this cause the chaos, the death, the wormwood in the water that makes it bitter, that we're all like imagining as like end time scenarios here? Could that be the big thing, the big problem? And what happens if you collectively gather all the worst of humanity into these data centers and store that information, and then imbue the worst of humanity that's been gathered, the data that's been scraped and harvested from humanity's psyche, into these data centers, and you run the water through that information and that memory, that negativity, and then siphon it back into the world again? Are you amplifying that process? Again, I'm winging this. I'm not saying any of that's true. I'm just thinking about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to take another quick break, guys, because for some reason I'm getting a bit of a headache forming behind here, and I think I might be coming down with something. We'll have some more water, and we'll come back for the last half hour, and then we'll do the show. We'll do the spinning wheel. We'll do the who won the thingy. If you want a signed copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, now is your chance today. You're in for a chance to win it. $5 super chat minimum, and you're in the draw, and your name will go on a big spinning wheel at the end of the show, and whoever wins gets a signed copy of the book. One person, one entry, minimum threshold $5. If you want to pay for somebody else, just expressly say the name of the person you're paying for, and they can also go on the draw. I'll be back again in a few minutes, guys. I'll play another song from my album for you while I'm at it. This one's called Living Water. 3 minutes, I'll be back, and we'll carry on with the show. Get some questions in, get your thoughts in on AI data centers, and get those donations in as well to get into the prize draw. 1, 2, 3, 4. My back is stabbed enough, oh, could I take a break? This world is draining me, a glass of living water, please. My eyes are aching now, oh, could you take this beam? The abyss stood back and laughed, I remember all your past. I sing to heaven, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. I sing for peace, now don't look down on me. Can't a man dream? That's a lovely building, oh, is it built on feelings? When it falls, you can crawl, grab his hem and don't let go. I see on the telly, the gospel is the belly, forever feeling empty, the bread of life is always free. Well, I sing to heaven, oh, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. Well, I sing for peace, now don't look down on me. Can't autumn and dream. Carry this for me. Ease my needs. Unburden me, please, Lord, please. My back is stabbed enough, oh, could I take a break? This world is draining me, a glass of living water, please. My eyes are aching now, oh, could you take this beam? The abyss stood back and laughed, I remember all your past. I sing to heaven, oh, please deliver me. The price is heavy, I heard you paid the levy. Well, I sing for peace now, don't look down on me. I need to sleep, can't I dream? Well, isn't that a lovely building? Yeah, I hadn't realized before I started the song that that song is called Living Waters. You know, and there's something about the water, isn't there? There's something about the water we should never forget and always take seriously. Someone was making a point there that I don't think they need to do any of the crazy stuff I was talking about imbuing the the water with negative energy in these sensors. The signals that are emitted by the towers all around us anyway are already doing that. And I think that's enough negativity. They don't need to do anything else extra with it. But I'm thinking, you know, if these guys can, then they will overdrive the situation given the opportunity. That's all I'm thinking. Question: do you think that people are talking data centers more serious than the 5G towers? Why so when both damage our environments and well-being? I think the thing about data centers is they're much bigger and more imposing and more obvious. And that's why they're being talked about more. And the other thing about the towers is you can't really talk about them without getting like seriously banned or striked or something. Something happens. But those things are extremely dangerous. Yeah, absolutely. It goes without saying. I've talked about it on Patreon. There's lots of things on Patreon I talk about on there which I can't talk about on YouTube. And I will explicitly explain everything I think and feel about those things. I agree. I'm fully on board with the mainstream understanding. The main conspiracy understanding of what those things are. I'm there. Okay, I completely agree. I absolutely. Could it be they are actually based? I don't know what you mean. You have to explain that to me a bit more. Did you see my message about the rice experiment? It's an experiment you can do at home. I didn't see that one. I have a tomato plant growing. I'm speaking pleasant things to it throughout the day. Well, that's just lovely. That's good to hear. That's very good to hear. Right, guys. So in terms of this competition, what I need to do, I need to put some names into a spinning wheel. So I'll try and get that done quickly now because I know there's only a few of you who are in for a chance to win this one. So let me just get that done. And for anyone else who wants to get on the spinning wheel, now's your chance. So Apple Eater's on the first, and then we've got, let me just get this side by side to make it a bit easier. Oop, I've just completely ballsed that up. Whoops. And then we got Marta, Schillers, and Happy. So let's put them in. Marta, Schillers, Spirit. And then Happy 2026. You're in the draw as well. And who else have we got? Let me quickly get this up here. Beck from Oz, the real McCoy. The real McCoy. You're also in on the list. And who else have we got? Only a few more, I think. We've got Annabelle, Chris, and El Amigo. Annabelle, Chris, and El Amigo. Right, so that's how many people is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 people in for a chance on the draw for the book. Get your name on there. You've got to be in it to win it. $5 minimum, and you can also go on my happy spinning wheel if you want to see what it looks like as a preview. It's this thing here. Look at this. It's good. It's real good fun. Well, it's always tense, and obviously, it gives something back to you guys as well, and it helps me. It helps me maintain my livelihood as well a little bit. In your first book, there was a comment you made about the true nature of humans, but you said you would keep it to yourself, ready to share. I have no idea what you're talking about, Nathan. I said a lot of things in that book 2 years ago. Can you be more specific? And maybe I will, but I don't know what you mean. But Nathan, $5 Canadian, I'll take it. Even though it's not worth that much money, I'll take the $5, and you can also go into the draw as well. So bear with me a second. Nathan Powell, you are also in the draw. I'll add your name while I'm at it. Nathan Powell. But no, I don't know specifically what you mean. You're going to have to remind me about the true nature of humans. I don't know what I was referencing or talking about. I don't remember saying it. If you give me a chapter specific, if you know exactly when or what I said, maybe I can have some context. It will help me a lot more. With the supernatural knowledge we have about water, is knowledge about our bloodline as much as possible still not important? You could be inheriting something that might impede you connecting. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's dangerous to put too much weight onto the whole blood thing. I'd say that it can get a little bit lines get crossed too quickly and things can get a bit dodgy. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. You know what I mean? But yes, I think your war about my internet, and it got worse. It didn't get better. So I'm sorry about that. There may be a bit of a lag. It may jump up and down, get better, get worse here and there. But I've closed as many tabs as I possibly can to try and minimize the drain on the upload speed there. It's possible maybe if I just quickly switch to a slideshow while I'm doing the talking, that might not be as bad or as intense. But yeah, the upload speeds of my new internet are not great. I'm pretty mad about it. I'm probably going to cancel and try and find a new supply, a new provider as a result. But it's sorry for any lag, for any issues. I hope you can still hear me right now, even with these nice, pretty pictures going through the background. Everyone tells to be positive, but my blood type is B negative. I can't help it. See what you did there. Very clever. Very clever. So what did I say? The true nature of humans. True nature of humans. I would keep it to myself. You know what? I'm going to go out and try something here. I'm going to find the document saved on my computer. I'm going to do a word search to see where I specifically said something like that. True nature of humans. Let's see what I can find. Nature. It needs to load. It's not quite loaded yet. Yeah. Come on, load up. Load up. Here we go. True nature. It was in the preface. Yes. Okay, I think I remember now. So context is everything, isn't it? Let me read this. So this is the preface to the first book, if you've never read it. When I made and published my first YouTube video titled The Nephilim / Demons Look Like Clowns / Jesters in October of 2016, I never imagined that 8 years later I would be writing a preface to a book of the same title. If If I were to be candid with the readers, I would not have cared about clowns and would never have really given them a second thought if the news had not plastered them all over the television in October of 2016. Yet now I find myself discussing the history of clowns and their costumes almost daily to audiences in the thousands. As some form of pseudo-expert on this niche subculture, I'm not complaining, as searching out the truth about the clowns has only strengthened my faith in God. And I have been told through numerous personal messages that it has done the same for many others. I hope this book will clarify how this is possible, because I know this theory sounds ridiculous when first heard out loud. A preface is supposed to share some insight into the author's inspiration for the work and then spill some behind-the-scenes tea regarding the book's production. When I look back on the complications that arose throughout this creative process, I feel sadness towards what I learned about human beings and their true nature. Unfortunately, as cryptic as that last statement was, it has to remain that way. I'm not looking to disparage anyone in particular, but let's just say that through an odd series of events, I now own the UK trademark for the Nephilim looked like clowns, which I never thought I would have to do. So that's what you're talking about, that little thing about what I learned during the process of publishing this book. Yeah, I remember that. I remember why I said that as well. So, first of all, let me just double check something before I do anything here and say anything. Because there's lots of reasons why I don't say stuff. Okay, no, so basically, if I could summarize quickly what happened is, and this is hard to say, it's complicated because I don't want to cause any problems for myself or anyone else, really. I do a lot of work online talking about this topic, and I've been on many podcasts, okay? And in the build-up to the book being published, I was doing a lot of podcast visits, advertising and talking about this upcoming book I'm writing and telling people about my theory and idea and what I believe and the Nephilim clown stuff. You can go to my tab on my channel. You've got the interviews and collaboration section right there. And there's years of content, hours and hours of me giving my spiel, you know, which I've tried to say many times. And many new videos are coming out today where I'm kind of giving the same spiel with more information added because I've learned more as the years have gone by. But somebody basically tried to impersonate me and steal everything. And went onto a big podcast with my spiel and passed it all off as their own, and even said words identical to how I would say them, and phraseologies and styles of speaking, and exactly how I would. It was very odd, okay? And someone brought this to my attention, and I went to the podcaster who had interviewed this person, who claimed to be a real archaeologist and anthropologist, you know, and I said, no, this guy's a fraud. And as a result, the fallout from me simply pointing this out was horrible. And the person attacked me viciously because they were called out for the bullshit, basically. And the what they said to me and the hideous vitriolic hatred that was spewed out towards me as a result was shocking. Simply because they were caught in the act of stealing somebody else's work. And I've never been insulted as hideously and heinously and threatened as harsh and as brutally as I was by that person. And nothing came of it in the end because I didn't rise to what they were saying, and they had nothing to, they didn't have any leg to stand on for whatever they were claiming. They just got caught. You know, they thought they'd get away with it. They thought their credentials were above me in some way, and therefore they had the right to steal everything. And it was horrible. I learned a lot about just how depraved humanity can get through that person. Seriously. It was crazy. It was crazy, and that's what happened. That's it. Without giving too much away, no names, not naming names and anything, but I was just about to publish the book, so that made me realize I have to copyright this. Like, I have to actually own the rights to the name the Nephilim look like clowns, because there are going to be people out there who are going to try and steal my identity, like quite literally steal my identity. And I was like, no, I can't have that. So there you go. I've got that now as a safety gap, just in case anything like that does happen again. I shouldn't have to use it. It's not like I'm against people talking about my work or anything, or whatever. But if someone does what he did to that extreme, I need the legal defense just to squash it, and not let it get to this ridiculous thing. Litigation was threatened against me. Do you know what I mean? For me pointing him out as a fraud, and it was crazy. It was really, really crazy stuff. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe what happened there. Absolutely batshit insane from start to finish. And that's it. That's what that's a reference to in the book, if you're ever wondering. There you go. But honestly, it's just unbelievable. Over my work, over the Nephilim look like clowns, something like that would happen. Ridiculous. And yeah, the internet's stabilized now. So yeah, it happens sometimes. Like, my internet's not great. It should be faster than my old internet, but for some reason, my MacBook is throttling my upload speeds. Something's draining it and taking it away, because when I do the speed tests, it's good. But when it comes to actually uploading a video, for example, it's behaving at a fraction of what it should be. So I've managed to do some stuff, and I managed to get it working by deleting some caches and very Mac operating system specific things I had to do. And it seems to be working, but I don't think it's perfect. So every now and then it'll dip or go a bit wild if I do something a bit too extraneous on the internet. So sorry about that. I fixed it now. It should be fine now. I think we're back to normal. But yeah, there you go. That answers your question there, Nathan. I hope that gives you some insight into what happened there exactly. But again, that was like 2.5 years ago. It's in the past. It's done. And I've buried it in. I've not followed anything up since then, and it is what it is. But it led me to own the copyright of the Nephilim look like clowns. I had to pay out of pocket to get all that done to legally protect myself against predators out there looking to literally steal everything. It was ridiculous. I honestly, I'm still right now. I still can't believe that's the case. It's ridiculous. Like, it shouldn't have had to be done. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I remember that guy tried to rip you off, says Fran. Yeah, exactly. I know, right? I know. The OGs will know. Those who have been with me forever will know. It's just unbelievable. Industries gather people from all walks of life, whether they're good or bad. You'll eventually encounter nastiness. Yeah, it's not the first time I've met malevolence. Don't get me wrong. I've met evil people before. It's not the first time, but this person was something else. He was a nasty piece of work, real nasty. Neither like trying to prove cops violated your civil rights when they claim qualified immunity. I don't know what that's about. Good thing you did what you did. Yeah, it is what it is. It really is what it is. You've got, if as an artist and a researcher and a creative person, you really have to protect yourself legally, because there are predators out there, opportunists looking to screw you over any opportunity they can get. So do not take litigation lightly. Protect yourself. Seriously, like, that's some advice there. As somebody who had to do it, learn the hard way. Context is key. Thank you for answering. Keep up the great work. God bless. Excuse the monopoly currency, says Nathan. No, Nathan, it's not your fault. Your money's worthless. It's not your fault at all. I understand. But you're in the draw. You're in the prize draw, and thanks for the question. I appreciate it. What are we on now, guys? We're on the 1 hour 54 mark. So I think it's time. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes. If you want to get into the draw, now's the time. You have 120 seconds to get yourself in. $5 super chat. Your name goes on my little spinning wheel of fortune, and we can do the draw soon. And stick around if your name's on there. And at the end of the show, just email me your shipping details and I can get it out to you as soon as possible. First thing tomorrow morning, I'll get it out to you, okay? So there we go, guys. That's what's happening. You have 100 seconds left, maybe, I don't know, to get in $5 to get yourself into the prize draw, and we can have some fun. So there we go. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I really do. I'm just going to quickly check if I've not missed anything in the chat with you guys. Something needs to happen to make progress. A negative here. RH negatives and RH positives should not breed. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, there's a rejection problem with the blood, isn't there? If that's the, I've heard about that. I'm trying to find the line. It stuck to me since I got the book. Oh, okay. You're talking about the line which I was talking about. Yeah, no, I did search. I've got it. It's done. It's done. It's all done in the past. I don't know. The 5G towers are pretty obvious. They are, but they're just replacing older towers, aren't they? People are used to tall towers everywhere, but they're not used to these giant cuboidal monolithic boxes. Okay, I think they stick out a hell of a lot more on the horizon, and it's making people question a lot more. I'd say it's more apparent and in your face, I would say, because they can disguise 5G towers as like trees and stuff as well, and they often do. So I don't know. I thought Canadian dollars are still pretty good, but what do I know? No, they're not. Not to the pound, they're not. They're about worth half of a pound. They're about 50 pence to the pound or something like that. So if for every 50 pence I spend, I can get 1 Canadian dollar. So the Canadian dollar, I think, is worth less than half of what mine is worth. For America, 75 cents to the pound. I think it's that. So it's America's not great too. America's really not great too. Like, it really isn't. So like $100 is just 75 pounds to me. It's not, and obviously the price for things here, my money's worth more, my currency's worth more, but at the same time the cost here is higher, so it's just a bit of like a balancing act. It is what it is, you know. But yeah, Canadian currency isn't great. Australian currency isn't that great either, to be honest. The dollar, like, it's not doing well. I thought Canadian dollars are still pretty good. 72 cents to the US dollar, exactly. Yeah. That used to be years, not that long ago. It was about 80, 85. That's when it was pretty good, pretty decent, but it's pretty shocking now. It's really bad. People rip down the ULEZ cams in London, but I never heard about attacks on 5G towers. People only care when it affects your wallet. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, I got done by one of those cameras in Scotland because my car was it's diesel. It was an old car and not very eco-friendly apparently. And I think it's the ULEZ. I think that's what they call them, isn't it? These cameras that track whether or not you're legally allowed to be in that area with your crappy car. And it got me, and I got fined for being in Edinburgh with one. I was like, you fascists. You absolute fascists. Anyway, with that being said, I am going to do the prize draw, guys. So let me switch the screen here. Let's get the Wheel of Fortune up. Our random name generator. Everyone who's contributed is on there. And let me just quickly switch the screen. Here it is. Okay, and I'll move it over so I'm not in the way. Let's do this, guys. Shall we do this? Do we want to count down? Nah, screw the countdown. I'm just going to do it now. Here we go, guys. So let's find out who our lucky winner is this time. Click to spin. Oh, here we go. It's Annabelle. You've got yourself a signed copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. There we go. So email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com with your shipping details, where you want it to go, and I will send that to you in the post as soon as possible. And you got yourself a copy, all done and dusted. There you go. You got it cheap. You got it for $5. You cannot complain, can you? So there we are. Thanks for playing. I appreciate it, everyone. Thanks for being here. It's a bit of fun. Thanks for listening to me ramble on and rant about China and AI centers for what it's worth here on a Sunday evening at the Truth of Therapy sessions. It's always a pleasure. Please consider becoming a Patreon member if you do want to support me. Lots of extra stuff on there you will not find on YouTube, and it's a good safety net if YouTube decides to just yank it all away from me one day, which they arbitrarily do just like to do. So please consider doing that, or get yourself a copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, and obviously look forward to Volume 2 coming out later in the year. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.